right, seeing that we have a quorum, I will call to order this meeting of the Waste Reduction District of Monroe County for Thursday, August 14th, 2025. Mr. McGlasson, will you please call the roll?
Piedmont Smith.
Here.
Thomas. Wiltz.
Here.
Jones. Swafford.
Here.
Thompson. Madeira. You have a quorum.
Thank you. All right, so we have in the packet, the first item is the Executive Committee meeting minutes from July 1st. Just for your information, were there any questions or comments on that? From board members? No. Okay, then we will move on to Board of Director meeting minutes from July 10th. Do we have a motion?
Minutes. Sorry. I move to approve the minutes.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the minutes from July 10th, Board of Director meeting. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, those minutes are approved. Then we have a separate set of minutes from the joint meeting between the Board of Directors and the Citizens Advisory Committee of July 10th. So do we have a motion to approve those?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I second.
All right, any conversation about those minutes of the joint meeting? Seeing none, all in favor of approval of the joint meeting minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right. Welcome, Commissioner Thomas. Thank you. We will move right along to the Controller's report, and first we will have a report on cash flows. Is Teresa Goins with us online?
Yes,
All
I'm
right.
here.
All right, go ahead then, please.
Okay. The cash flow summary is on page 34 of your board packet. Here are the balances as of July 31st for the following accounts. Operating is $4,860,032.14. Closure bond debt is $17,252.53. Capital is $46,068.83. Landfill post-closure is $810,366.47. The individual cash flow summary statements for each of these are on pages 35 through 40 of the packet, and operating fund graph is on page 37. Are there any questions on the account balance?
Are there any questions from board members about the cash flows? We also had, oh, that's for claims, never mind. We had an email from yesterday, but that does not affect cash flows. All right. If there are no questions, we can go ahead and move on to the payroll and claims.
On page 41 of the packet, you have a summary of the pre-approved payroll and claims since our last meeting in the amount of $206,212.26. The backup for those numbers are on pages 42 through 78. The claims for approval this week were sent in an email on Wednesday and are in the amount of $9,232.55. Documentation was included in the Wednesday email. That brings the total of all payroll and claims that we are recommending for approval to $215,444.81. Are there any questions regarding these claims?
All right, any questions from board members about the payroll and claims presented? Yeah, do a quick scroll through to see if I had anything on here. So the only thing I wanted to note, we had many different lines for pack right rentals for the monthly compactor rental. Was that for several months? Because there were like 12 lines of it.
No, that's the, previously those were leased through a Hobbs equipment company, and Hobbs was bought out by Packrite a few months ago. This is the way that Packrite invoices for the compactors. They're in our accounting system, each invoice number has to be put in individually, so that's what you're seeing. It should, it's a little over $4,000 a month in compactor rentals that we do. It's 14 units, so.
Oh, we have 14 total, so we have multiple at each site.
Yes.
That's what got me confused.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, Councilor Wills.
Looking at, what page am I? 47. Page 47 has $6,000 and some dollars to Curie Environmental for smoke alarm recycling. And is that, it says HHW, so is that from the public?
Yes, yeah, those are devices that residents have brought to our household hazardous waste facility.
About how much time of collection does $6,500 represent?
I would have to ask Mr. Long, and unfortunately he is out of town this week, but we can certainly get some information on historical smoke detector shipments and how frequently those occur and what volume we're looking at.
That just seems like a lot.
They're expensive.
Yeah. I didn't know that I could bring my smoke alarm to
Yes,
have it recycled. Sorry.
We would prefer and recommend that you do. Most of them actually have a radioactive element in them, and that's what the cost.
I don't think I've ever thrown one away. I'm just, it's just things you see that you pique your interest. Thank you.
Wow, they have something radioactive in them? I did not know that.
It's not weapons grade plutonium or anything like that, and it's shielded, but.
All right, public service announcement. If you have one of these, don't just put it in your trash. Okay. Are there any more questions about payroll and claims? We can go to the public. Are there any members of the public who would like to comment on the payroll and claims as presented? Anybody here in person? And I don't see any hands raised on the Teams.
Was there a motion to approve them?
That's a good point, Commissioner Thomas. We do need a motion on the table.
Like a motion, I move to approve?
Second.
And I still don't see anybody from the public. So we can come back and take a vote. All in favor of approving the payroll and claims, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? No. All right. Those are approved. Thank you, Ms. Goins. Now we're going to move on to Resolution 2025-12, a declaration of surplus property. Mr. McGlasson.
Yes, the memo on page 79 in your packet, I guess tells you that unfortunately one of our vehicles was involved in an accident beginning of July. The insurance company did declare that a total loss. As part of the settlement agreement with the insurance company, they want title of the vehicle for a full settlement. As you'll get into in the next agenda item, it was unfortunately a new vehicle, but they actually settled for the full purchase price of the vehicle because it had so few miles on it minus the deduction. So we just need to declare the vehicle surplus property so that title's transferred to the insurance company so they can salvage it.
All right. Let's get a motion on the table regarding this resolution. Would somebody like to make a motion?
Move to approve Resolution 2025-12.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Are there any questions for Mr. McGlasson about this declaration of surplus property for the truck that was totaled? Yes, Councilor Wiltz.
Not so much a question. Well, could you just for the public let folks know the impact of the accident, like human wise?
It was, I was not in the vehicle, but the way the report read and what was described, traveling in the line of traffic, somebody further up the line was making a left turn. The line of traffic suddenly stopped, and our vehicle was unable to get stopped, and did rear end the vehicle in front of it. No injuries to it. Neither driver was cited for any moving violations. It's just one of those things that happen.
Thank you.
Yes, when we hear a car is totaled,
Right.
it's
Sorry?
good. When I hear a vehicle is totaled, it's a relief to know that there were no injuries. Any other questions? Is there anybody from the public who would like to comment on Resolution 2025-12? Seeing no one, we will go to a vote. Do we need to do a roll call since we're all here, or I'm not sure on the resolutions?
Not for a resolution.
No? All right. So all in favor of approving the Resolution 2025-12, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, that is approved unanimously. And we will move on to a related resolution, 2025-13. Last.
You can see the memo on page 82 of the packet again, and this is requesting approval to go to the county council to seek an additional appropriation to appropriate the insurance settlement funds to purchase a replacement truck that we have already ordered. Behind that memo is the quote from Curry Auto Center for that replacement truck. The memo, you can see the district funds needed to finish this transaction are the $1,000 deductible for the insurance, and the cost of the replacement truck, you can see, is about $350 more the purchase price of the original vehicle, which the insurance company settled for.
All right, can we get a motion on the table regarding this resolution?
I move approval of Resolution 2025-13.
I second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Are there any questions from board members about this item or comments? Yes.
I guess if I could, just for the record, to put on the record that the amount requested to be sought an additional appropriation is $55,276.
And I see in your memo, Mr. McGlasson, that if we approve this resolution, you're also asking the board to approve payment to Curry since we may not have a meeting in September.
Yeah, and then that's an agenda item coming up, but yeah, there may not be a need for the board to meet in September, and if the board is to make that determination, it is possible the new truck will be delivered before the board would meet in October. Curry Auto Center is not on our approved vendor list, so we would need board approval to make payment.
Right. Well, let's see how this resolution goes first. Is there anybody in the public who would like to comment on Resolution 2025-13? I cannot see all the attendees on the screen that's in front of me, but I assume Mr. McGlasson would let me know if there's a hand raised.
I don't see any hands up.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Commissioner Thomas. I need to look at a different screen. So, any hands raised? So we'll come back for a vote. All in favor of the motion to approve Resolution 2025-13, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, that is approved unanimously. And let's put a pin in the possible payment to Curry until we get to discussion of the September meeting. All right, let's move on to the budgets for 3 different funds for the year 2026. Mr. McGlasson.
Up and I will share my screen. Yes, a memo beginning on page 92 of your packet. You can see that since this was presented to the board in July, board and CAC in July, we did have our annual budget workshop with the Department of Local Government Finance. And at that meeting, we were advised that our tax revenue estimations were a little low. So we did see an increase in our tax revenue, and so that resulted in some other changes on the expense side of things to try to maintain a balanced budget. I did ask staff to going into the July meeting, make some cuts they were not necessarily comfortable with in order to have a balanced budget. So we did put some of that money back in. So I do have basically the same presentation that we did in July, and I would be happy to go through that presentation in full, or we can go through it more quickly and just highlight the changes from July, whatever the board's pleasure.
Do board members have an opinion as to whether to go through in detail or just the highlights? All right, why don't we go through in some level of detail?
Okay, we can do that, certainly.
It's also beneficial for the public. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, I somehow turned my speakers. Okay, I think we got it. Maybe not, sorry. Okay. Well. There we go.
Your microphone on your laptop needs to be off.
I think we got it. All right. I think that happened last month too. I kept when I was trying to do this, but so anyway, here's a summary slide that kind of gives you revenues and expenses of the various categories that we'll go through in more detail. As you can see, we do see an almost a $20,000 increase in estimated property tax revenue after meeting with DLGF. And in total on the expense side, an almost $20,000 increase in expenses. So again, on the tax category, you see we do have the 4% maximum allowed growth quotient that did come from the state. The cap impact provided by DLGF at our workshop was $111,000. But again, that does result in an increase. The two license excise tax lines were actually a little high than what DLGF came in with, so those dropped a little bit. But again, the bottom line is almost a $20,000 increase in tax revenue. No changes on the HHW and disposal revenues from what we were presented in July. Yes, and feel free to stop me if you have any questions on anything, but I will highlight what I deem significant changes from the previous year. And again, no changes from July in the other income category. No changes from the sale of recyclables. Would note that those last two lines there are new revenue lines this year that are based on the new agreement with Rumpke. Well, they'll be giving us a rebate for our fiber materials, the cardboard and mixed paper. And in the miscellaneous income, we do drop off the City of Bloomington splitting the cost of the apartment composting program with us. And then we also had budgeted a transfer from the debt service fund for a loan that was made, I think 2 years ago. Any questions on revenue overall, or do we want to jump right into expenses? Okay.
Go ahead.
So on the expense side, we start with the personnel services category, and not really any changes here from what was in July. We're on a flat increase this year, our rotation between 1% and a flat increase. So that flat increase is based on a 3% cost of living adjustment that's applied to the median rate for all positions. For salaried employees, that came out to a $1,180 annual increase, and for hourly employees, a 57-cent per hour increase. If you divide 1,180 by 2,080 hours worked in a year, it comes out to 57 cents an hour. So. The other change there is that we're proposing our household hazardous waste technicians. Their hourly employees and their current wage is equal to that of our material handler positions. We'd like to increase that. The household hazardous waste department does require some technical and operational expertise above and beyond what a material handler does. So we're proposing to increase the household hazardous waste technicians' pay to be equal to that of our truck drivers. And then on health insurance, this year this is just a complete guess, and I apologize for that, but our current health insurance provider, IU Health, was purchased by Anthem. Anthem is advised that they will not be doing renewals for the IU Health policies that they assumed, they're purchased. They'll treat those clients as new clients, so have no experience with them, don't know what their rate structure is like. So we're working with our benefit administrator, and we've looked at a number of health insurance offerings, options that the district could look into. Thus far, the premium estimates that we're looking at are in line with what is in the budget. But we won't, it'll be 60 days prior to renewal, which is January 1, before we'll get a quote that any insurance company will stick by. So that's kind of where we are. We're making every effort that we can to maintain coverage for all current employees that have coverage. You may be aware that we do offer benefits to employees working as little as 23 hours a week. And going under 30 hours a week for some benefit carriers is an issue. But we've identified some options that would allow those to continue. And we'll as we get closer to to the end of October, beginning of November, when we can start getting some firm numbers. We'll see where things go. But I'm comfortable with the number that we have budgeted, and we'll be able to get something done within that price range.
Mr. McGlasson, I had a question about that. Since we won't get quotes until after November 1st, what do you think might be the time frame that employees will have to weigh options as far as selecting their benefit coverage? Usually have an open enrollment period.
Yeah, we'll do open enrollment at the end of November, the beginning of December. I mean, once we can get a policy, a carrier selected, and know what that pricing is going to be, and what coverage options are there, we'll get the packets together, and we do open enrollment as soon as we can.
So you think we could still give employees 2 weeks or so to? Because sometimes it's important for them to have time to look at the different options.
I would hope 2 weeks at a minimum.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions on the personnel overview before Mr. McGlasson continues? Okay, go on.
So then we get into the actual dollar figures related to what all I just summarized. So you see that the increases for the two wage lines based on that cost of living increase. I would note there was an error found in our longevity calculation, so that did go up $25 from July for that correction, which interestingly enough, in the formulas did result in a $1 increase in the FICA Medicare line. So there's a total of a $26 change from what was presented in July for the personnel services category. You can see a significant drop in the health insurance line, but again, with the information I have at this point, I'm comfortable that that's going to be a sufficient amount of money to continue coverage similar to where we currently are. For the supplies category, there was a $10,000 change in the general operating supplies from July. That was for our rural sites. That department had wanted to look at getting some new oil collection containers, and in the original budget proposal, that was something that got nixed as a budget balancing measure, so we did put that back in for them. Small change from July in the other repair and maintenance supplies. The other supply line, we had a $16,000 decrease from July, and I think if you'll recall, we discussed that in July, and there was some, I guess, probably an error on my part, missing that the year-to-date for that included reusable bag purchase that wasn't budgeted for and is not something that will be a routine, regular purchase for us, and that needed to come out. So. The category as a total is down $5,800 from what you saw in July. So then in the services and charges category, we did bump lab fees up by $5,000 from what was presented in July. There is a long list event for groundwater due next year. And based on what's happened so far this year with rain, and our leachate treatment plant has run more than it has in a lot of years, and we have to sample that water twice a month. So if we have to run like that next year, there would be an increased cost for those sampling fees. And then the consultant line did increase $19,500. That's the bulk of your property tax increase. And that's money identified to continue to do the Back to Earth apartment composting program or some other type of composting food waste reduction initiative that I believe is something that staff, at least, and I assume that the board is still interested, looking at options for food waste and getting that diverted from the waste stream. So we wanted to have money in there to do that. The community grant's still in there, which again we indicated last month is a new budget line, but something that we were asked to look at establishing. I just would note for the record, you know, it's proposed and budgeted right now. If the budget goes through, the grant program is something that we would have to establish and the board would have to approve, and that is something we would look to do fairly quickly so that we could get grants awarded early in the year and give people time to spend that money. Freight and handling went up $50, you know, from July. That just looking at what it cost first half of this year for things that we had to ship. Dues and subscriptions, we did do a $1,000 increase from July, and that's kind of earmarked for doing some sort of a service with our website to improve the accessibility of that, so that I believe there's a new requirement coming down for that to actually happen. So we'll look at getting something implemented and to comply with that as soon as we can. I think April 1st is our deadline, but we'll you know, we'll work to get that in place as soon as we can. And this, I know there are not really any significant changes from July in this page. On that page, free on recovery went up $200 from July. That's just kind of strictly looking at trends and the amount of appliances that are coming in at this time. And so all told for the services and charges category, $25,750 increase from what was presented in July, but still a $52,000 decrease from the current year budget. Capital outlays, nothing changed from what was presented in July. So we do have the $50,000 appropriation in 2026 to get it to look at getting a new vehicle for administration and outreach, and are kind of zeroing in on an electric or hybrid vehicle for that purchase. So that is the operating budget. Any questions on that?
Are there any questions from board members on the operating budget presentation? I have one question. So back in the category 2 supplies, this is where you had added back in 2 new oil collection containers at a cost of $10,000. So then when I look at the second slide of that, the total change from the July budget is $5,800 less. So I'm trying to...
The other supply line came down $16,000.
Which line is that? Oh, just the others added together?
Yeah, and then we had a $200 increase in the other repair and maintenance supply line.
$490. That change is only $1,500. But you're right, when I look at all of the the negatives in that increase/decrease column, I can see that they do add up. So, okay, I think I understand it now. Are there any other questions on this budget? We can go to the public. Is there any member of the public who'd like to comment on the budget proposal for, well, actually, let's, maybe we should get a resolution on the table first, a motion on the table for.
There's still a couple of slides left on this presentation for the debt service and the capital. We can certainly do the resolutions in between and go fund by fund if you'd prefer, or we could finish the presentation and then take the 3 resolutions.
I would prefer to go fund by fund to not confuse, because the resolutions are 3 different resolutions for 3 different funds. So I would appreciate a motion on resolution 2025-14.
Move approval of resolution 2025-14.
I'll second, and I think because this is a budget item, we will have to do roll call votes for these resolutions.
Okay. All right, thank you. All right, so we have a motion to approve the operating fund budget. Is there anybody in the? Yes?
And I also I think in the past we have had a habit of, for the budget resolutions, reading the now therefore section before the vote, just so that the dollar amounts are in the record, read into the record. And
Okay, that's a good practice. Councilor Wills, since you made the motion, would you please read the meat of this resolution?
I can do that. So, resolution 25-14. Now, therefore, the District Board of Directors hereby resolves to approve and submit to Monroe County Council, as required by IC 6-1.1 to 17.20, the Waste Reduction District of Monroe County 2026 Operating Fund budget as follows. Revenues, total revenues are $3,254,592. Expenses in the personnel services, $1,729,850. Supplies, $213,600. Other services and charges, $1,236,170. Capital outlay, $75,000 for total expenses of $3,254,620.
Thank you very much. That's a mouthful. All right, so that motion to approve has already been moved and seconded. Is there any member of the public who would like to comment on resolution 2025-14, the operating budget? All right, I do not see anybody wanting to comment, so we will come back to board members. Are there any board members who would like to comment on this item? I will just say that I appreciate that through efficiencies, we have reduced the number of hauls of the household hazardous waste and the recycling. So I think that's great. So we can cut down on that part of the budget. That's kudos to Joey Long and his staff for doing that. My thanks to Mr. McGlasson and Ms. Goins for preparing the budget. And I think we can do a roll call vote.
Madeira?
Aye.
Thomas? Yes. Piedmont Smith?
Yes.
Swafford?
Yes.
Wills?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
All right, very good. That will move on to be presented to the Monroe County Council. So now we have the debt service fund. So Mr. McGlasson, if you want to go back to the slides and show us that one.
I'm going to back up just a second. I was remiss when we started this to make note on page 106 of your packet are the written comments from the CAC that they're required to submit before the board or to vote on the budget. And I believe the CAC chair also directly emailed those to all the board members previously as well.
Yes, thank you.
All right, so the debt service bond. The debt service bond got kind of screwy on us this year. So the way that the DLGF looks at the tax levy and the tax settlements, the tax settlements received in a given year are supposed to cover the debt service payments for that year. So we make a payment in February and get a settlement in June, and we make a payment in August and get a settlement in December. We obviously have to have those funds available in February and August to make those payments. So because we're going to get a tax settlement in December, our end of year balance for that debt service fund is estimated to be about $148,000. Well, the state takes that into consideration when they establish our levy for 2026, assuming that we have $148,000 that was unspent in 2026, or I'm sorry, in 2025. So what you will see in the debt service fund budget that's in the packet is a budget that is about an $80,000 deficit. That's because they reduced the debt service tax, assuming that we had leftover funds that would go toward the 2026 or that were not used in 25 and be applied to 26. And then in 27, when our last payment is due in February, we will get a tax disbursement in June and a tax disbursement in December after the bond has been settled, which should then settle that account and zero it out. But because it works like that, the operating fund is going to have to make temporary loans to the debt service fund to make sure that these final three payments are covered and paid on time. I think the last thing that we want to do is to default on a bond with two payments to go. But that's that is the way the DLGF explained it. That we will, even though we have the one payment due in February 27, that we will still get two tax disbursements that year, and that should balance that fund for us. But we're going to have to, the $148,000 end of year balance is not quite going to cover. I think the first payment, the payment due in February of 26 is about $153,000, $155,000. And then we'll get the disbursement in June which we already know is going to be short for that August payment, and have to make another loan for that August payment, and we'll be in that same position when we get the disbursement in December going into the February payment. But when we do the budget workshop for the 2027 budget cycle, all of that will be looked at, and the tax levy for 2027 will be calculated to balance that account so that the operating fund is reimbursed and the debt service fund is at zero. Go.
Thank you. So we will have a deficit budget for the debt service fund with the understanding that we will be borrowing money from the operating fund. Yeah. All right. Are there, let's get a motion on the table for, what is it, Resolution 2025-15, the debt service fund budget?
Go ahead and move to approve Resolution 2025-15. Now, therefore, the Waste Reduction District Board of Directors hereby resolves to approve and submit to the Monroe County Council as required by IC 6-1.1-17.20, the Waste Reduction District of Monroe County 2026 Debt Service Fund Budget Proposal as follows. Total revenue, $226,659. Expenses, $308,445.
Second. All right, we have a motion and a second. Are there any questions or comments from board members? Okay, seeing none, we'll go to the public. Are there any comments from members of the public about Resolution 2025-15, the Debt Service Fund Budget? I do not see any. Right, we can move to a roll call vote, please.
Wofford,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Piedmont Smith,
Yes.
Madeira,
Yes.
Wiltz.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Right, thank you very much, and we can move on to the Cumulative Capital Fund budget.
Yeah, and this is just I guess, an exercise. It's a zero-sum budget, but DLGF has advised a number of years ago that it would be in our interest to go ahead and adopt a zero-sum budget. So we have that budget on file with the state so that if the need would arise to seek to appropriate any of the funds out of that for a capital project that comes up, it saves us some time and some steps in pursuing that additional appropriation by having the budget on file.
All right, so I see we just have that $46,000 there and budgeting no revenues, no expenses. Do we have a motion for Resolution 2025-16?
Move approval of Resolution 2025-16 for the Waste Reduction District of Monroe County. Now therefore, Board of Directors hereby resolves to approve and submit to the Monroe County Council as required by IC 6-1.1-17.20, the Waste Reduction District of Monroe County 2026 Cumulative Capital Fund Budget Proposal as follows. Beginning balance, $46,069.00 with the same ending balance.
I second. Right, that's been moved and seconded. Are there any questions or comments from board members? Right, what about the public? Is there anybody in the public who would like to speak to Resolution 2025-16, the Cumulative Capital Fund Budget? Seeing none, we will go to a roll call vote, please.
Thomas,
Yes.
Piedmont Smith,
Yes.
Swafford,
Yes.
Madeira,
Yes.
Wiltz.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
All right, thank you very much. That takes care of our three budget resolutions. And I believe the next item on our agenda is regarding the September board meeting.
Yeah, so you can see the memo on page 132, of the packet. This unfortunately happens to us every year. Our second Thursday of the month, September meeting, always conflicts with the county council's budget work sessions. So we generally, you go ahead and schedule it at the beginning of the year, knowing that it's going to have to be rescheduled or canceled, but wait to see where things sit as we get to this point of the year to determine if there is a need for the board to meet or not. So given that we've dealt with the insurance settlement on the truck, if the board will today give staff permission to complete the transaction with Curry Auto when the new truck is delivered and make that payment, I don't see a need for the board to meet in September. Don't know of any issues we have pending or coming up that would require board action.
All right, are there any thoughts from directors about meeting in September? Or we could also consider a motion to cancel that meeting.
I move to cancel the September board meeting.
There a second?
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to cancel the meeting in September for the Board of Directors. Any other comments? I don't think we go to the public for this item. So all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, so the September board meeting has been canceled. Do we need to take a vote on authorizing payment to Curry for the new box truck?
Yeah, I believe that you do. We have policy in place that provides for when accounts payable claims need to come to the board for approval before payment, and that has to do with the approved vendor list. Curry Auto Center is not on the approved vendor list, so under policy, without board approval, we could not issue that payment. So we would need, I guess, need a motion and a vote from the board to approve staff making payment to Curry Auto Center, and I would say for an amount not to exceed the $55,376, whatever the additional appropriation was, should the truck be delivered prior to the board's next meeting.
So moved.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded.
Sorry, who was the second?
Commissioner Thomas. So it's been moved and seconded that we approve payment to Curry for the new box truck in the amount of $55,276 based on the quote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, that is unanimously approved. Thank you for taking care of that. We don't want to keep them waiting if we get that box truck before the next board meeting.
Thank you for helping us expedite that process.
All right, I think the next item we have is a report from the CAC. And we have Joseph Winia here. Welcome.
Thank you. Good afternoon, directors. Joseph Winia from the Citizens Advisory Committee. Just a few points to touch on from our last regular meeting. The first you've already seen. It was our comments on the budget. So thank you for taking those into your consideration and for approving the budget. The other and ongoing conversation that we've been having is regarding a service called makesoil.org. It's basically an app and a website that provides basically community compost network opportunities that align very well with the Organics Task Force neighborhood composting program that we've been working on. And then I guess I'll just finally note that we talked a little bit more about the food waste collection pilot at the Taste of Bloomington Festival, which has happened since. I hope that some of you were able to attend and enjoy, and we will find out at our next CAC meeting how that pilot went. Be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you for your report. Are there any questions for Mr. Winia? I will just say that, yes, I was at the Taste of Bloomington, and I saw several stations set up next to waste bins where folks were talking about bokashi composting and collecting food waste. So eager to hear the results.
All right.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have reports from departments. Mr. McGlasson.
Okay. Let's do the easy one first. Waste Tire Amnesty Day. Just a few weeks away now, September 6th at the Monroe County Fairgrounds, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. So we've had that out in social media and PSAs on radio and press release in the newspaper. So hopefully everybody is aware of that, and those that need to can take advantage of it. And again, funded through a grant from the Indiana Department of Environmental Management. So, Okay, so the second bullet point in your report, the district's been notified as a potentially responsible party regarding a consent decree for a facility in South Carolina that received some material from our Household Hazardous Waste Department in 1997. It's taken some doing, but we have finally been able to find an attorney that does have some experience, expertise in these types of matters, that did not have a potential conflict of interest based on all the other PRPs involved. It's with a firm out of Indianapolis, Plews, Shadley, Racher, and Braun. We have one of the partners in that firm working with us. They currently have all of the materials for review. Did advise the Jackson Waller LLP that issued the notice to us of our issues in finding representation. I'll back up a little bit. The first step we took when we got this was, we notified the carrier who had the insurance for us at that time. And it took a couple of weeks for them to review and get back to us, but the policy in place at that time had a $50,000 self-insured retention on it. So since we had the notification that had a settlement offer of just under $30,000 in it, they denied the claim. It wasn't going to meet the self-insured retention. So unfortunately, that delayed us seeking our own representation. The county attorney's office, basically said this is a little beyond our scope. But we did find somebody, so we did notify the Jackson Waller LLP. They have granted us an extension on our response deadline to September the 19th. So that'll give Ms. Romig plenty of time to review the material, kind of see where she thinks that we stand with all this, and what our options and what kind of course of action she might recommend, and then prepare that response and get that submitted before that deadline. But based on the data information that was provided in the notice, they're basically, the settlement offer is basically $1 per pound of material that facility received. For people that may not be familiar with how hazardous waste is managed, this gets into issues with the Comprehensive Environmental Response, Compensation and Liability Act, CERCLA, the Resource Conservation and Recovery Act, RCRA, and the CERCLA is the big one, gives the EPA the authority, to identify potentially responsible parties going all the way back to the generator or manufacturer of that material. So even though household hazardous waste is excluded as a hazardous material under RCRA, the Resource Conservation and Recovery Act, we accept it from the households. We're RCRA exempt because of that. But once we take it in and we repackage it and we ship it out under DOT regulations, it's no longer an exempt material. So, because we are now the generator, not the household. So there's probably not going to be a clear cut and dry out for us in this, but we'll see what the attorney comes back with, and see if she recommends that we settle this, or if we should fight it and say that we shouldn't have any liability here. That's a question.
Are there questions on that? Yes, Councilor Wells.
So accepting liability would be approximately monetarily $30,000.
$29,300 and some dollars.
And the deductible you said from insurance was around 50, so we don't need to go that way, unless something changes, of course. And what you just laid out was very logical about the exemption and then our resulting liability. We've hired counsel to review this. Are you looking at it as you hired counsel simply to kind of confirm that our understanding is correct and we will likely be paying the $30,000? Because the logic you described to me just makes me think that is what we should do.
Yes, at this point, what we've asked Ms. Romick to do is to review everything, and if she sees a clear cut and dry out that no, you shouldn't have liability here, then we would consider if we should fight it. But yeah, just to look at that and see where we sit, and is it. Because if it is something that we choose to fight, it's not going to take long to rack up $30,000 in attorney fees and expenses. So, unless there's just a clear cut and dry, there's no way that you have any liability here. But that's what we want her to look at and advise us on and provide counsel. If it's something she says to fight, then it's something that would, come back to the board. And I think ultimately, it's a $30,000 decision. That's the board's decision. Potentially more than $30,000 decision. That's the board's decision to make. She did also state that in her experience, sometimes in these situations, you can negotiate a slightly smaller settlement amount. So she may come back and say, yeah, you should settle it, but let's offer this instead of the proposed amount and see what they say. So.
I look forward to learning more.
We have not retained her to file any legal motions and start a fight at this point. Okay, is that what?
Right. Yeah. I mean, just to your point, you got to look at how much is it costing us to get how far down the road before it's
right. And when you're dealing with consent decree litigation and the 50 plus other PRPs that are involved in this and the EPA, yeah, it can get expensive real fast. So.
Thank you.
Any other questions from board members or comments on this particular item? Okay, Mr. McGlasson, you want to finish with your department report then?
Sure, and then an update on kind of where we sit with the Rocky Mountain Institute and looking at the feasibility of doing solar panels at the landfill. We did have another meeting with them on July the 29th, and included in that meeting was representatives from Monroe County, City of Bloomington Utilities, and Indiana University. That have all indicated that they would potentially be interested in being an off-taker of any energy produced from a project out there. So there's a lot of good information there. Jessica Davis from IU has some experience with this and some discussions with utilities on this. Unfortunately, it's an expensive proposition, the way that Duke Energy has it set up. But it doesn't necessarily mean that it's, not doable. So where things kind of sit right now, it was brought up that maybe we should see if we can identify some other closed landfills in the area or other facilities that might also have an interest in installing solar panels, kind of expand the scope of the project so that there's more power available, so that for the more power available, the more off-takers you can have, and then the cost per off-taker becomes cheaper. So that's kind of where we sit. And Joe kind of already hit on the Organic Waste Task Force and the Make Soil. So unless there's any questions, that's all that I have.
Are there any other questions on the administration report? Councilor Welton?
Yes, regarding the off-takers for any solar energy generated. I'm sorry I was unable to attend the meeting, and thank you for updating me. Can you describe briefly what it takes to be an off-taker? So, what type of entities are qualified, or is it something that's big enough?
Yeah, I don't know if there are, or if there are, I wouldn't be able to provide to you specific criteria or qualifications, for an off-taker. But generally, you're looking at, commercial entities that are large consumers of electricity, that would then enter into an agreement with the utility, that even if it may not be a direct feed from the solar field, into the off-taker, they're at a negotiated price purchasing some measure of kilowatt hours or megawatts produced by this facility over here, and offset it, and taking that as part of their energy consumption off the grid from that utility.
And it can be private, commercial entities as well as the public ones that you've listed as potentials.
Yeah, I don't know that there's any restriction on public or private as far as the off-taker. Commissioner Thomas may have some more information on that.
Yeah, I think it would have to be a large user of electricity, because there is, with some of the programs, probably the one that we would have to go with, there is a fee to apply to be an off-taker. And it's $1,000 for each applicant, yeah. So there's an expense. And so what happens is, so what we learned is that if, for example, Monroe County government became an off-taker of this energy from solar field, our initial utility costs would go up, but then because of these fees to start and initiate, but then they would level off and be very predictable, whereas we know electrical rates right now, especially with Duke, are not stable. And so long-term, an entity like Monroe County could save money, because looking years down the line, that's beneficial to have a stable price for electricity, but have an initial expense, and that makes it something where a homeowner is not going to jump in and go, yeah, I'll join it, right? Because it's just too much. That's too much money to put in.
Wow. Interesting. Thank you.
Thank you both for the additional details on that slow-moving process of investigating whether this could work for us. I had an unrelated question about the administration department report. You always have a media summary, and you list Facebook, X, and Blue Sky. And I think I've asked this before. Can we get an Instagram account?
I'm sorry, what?
Can we get an Instagram account?
You have asked that before. I apologize. And I need to get with Ms. Pokral. And I mean, I don't know why we can't. And I think you've brought that up, and I've been remiss in getting with her on that to get that established. So.
Okay, yeah, I think that would be a good way to reach more people. All right, any other questions on the administration report? We didn't have a report from Joey Long in the packet.
No, he's.
Do you have a verbal report?
I can try my best. Yeah, he's on vacation. He's somewhere in the Caribbean Ocean right now on some big
Good
boat.
for him.
But so yeah, unfortunately, he did forget to get that to me before he left. Also, you normally have recycling and waste data. That's actually a little behind right now. We're still working on the conversion of how we're getting that data from Rumpke versus how we got it from Republic, and making sure that we're providing you apples to apples data when we get that. But we should have that back in at the next meeting for you. One thing I do know I need to report regarding the rural sites. Unfortunately, our Bethel Lane, the Northeast Recycling Center, has been unable to take used oil for a period of time. We had a damaged tank. We did have that scheduled to be replaced today, and when they got out there and put all that together, the top for the replacement piece has a big crack in it. So they're looking to see what they can do to at least try to get some sort of a temporary fix done on that, so we can at least start taking oil out there again until we get another replacement shipped in. But unfortunately, we expected to be able to start taking used oil out there again tomorrow, and we're not going to be able to do that, unfortunately. And we certainly apologize to the users of that facility. I know it's been a few weeks and it's been an inconvenience, and we appreciate your patience, but do apologize. We're doing the best we can to get it back up and running. So. Other than that, I think most everything else is running smoothly on the recycling, the rural sites and the South Walnut facility. So, but I try to answer any questions if you have any.
Are there any questions on recycling centers or household hazardous waste? Being none, we want to move on to Mr. Paulson for the landfill and environmental compliance report.
Hey, good afternoon. Lee Paulson, Environmental Compliance and Landfill Director. The only stuff I'd really kind of bring to your attention is that we just recently got the stats report back from the May groundwater, and no changes from what we've been doing in the past. Looking at this is still Atlas Technologies is new to us, as we're still understanding how they're writing the report better and making sure that we're all understanding what they're presenting to the state. But everything data-wise looks to be pretty consistent with our May events, long list, short list, those kind of things. So looks to be a pretty routine event. The only other thing is we finally were able to shut down our treatment plant towards the end of July, as it looks like the weather conditions have finally dried out enough. And we're currently working on trying to clean out that collection pond again, as we're experiencing another massive algae bloom in that is been rather difficult to deal with. But we're working at it and hoping to come up with some, working to try to find some solutions to this, so we're not cleaning this pond out every year, because it's pretty challenging in the heat and type of environment that is. But hoping that we have something figured out differently than what we're doing here in the next couple months. Other than that, the data for the Adopt a Road and environmental compliance is on that last page, and I'll answer any questions you guys have.
Thank you, Mr. Paulson. Are there any questions on that report? I will just say I noticed in the payroll and claims that we paid for some invasives removal. Is that right, at the landfill site?
Yeah, we had a couple years ago, MC Iris came out and helped us identify some invasive species around the landfill, and trying to do our due diligence with that. And the most effective way to deal with some of these invasive plants is just an extra mowing. So we've been trying to mow those down, because if you get them before they seed, it just kind of takes the energy away. But so we're working on that. Mary Beth and I have also, we've got some EPA approved herbicide that we're trying to work on little by little with getting some things. We just really, honestly, we just haven't had a chance. We've had so much rain and trying to clean out that pond that we just haven't been able to get to it, but it's still on our list.
Right, that's good to hear. Seeing no other comments, I think we can move to the next part of our agenda, which is public comment. Any public comment on general items for the good of the Waste Reduction District? Does anybody in the public want to make a comment? Doesn't look like it. Okay, we'll go to final comments from directors. Any members of the board like to make a comment?
Just that I was really proud of our community. Not only was Taste of Bloomington a roaring success, but we were able just to harness all of that and, you know, put the literally waste reduction measures in place for that event. So that was wonderful.
Indeed. All right. Well, I think that's it for today. So everybody stay cool, stay hydrated, and we are adjourned.